Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. I'm Jonathan Freedman, alongside Jonathan Penta with Penta Wealth Management. Jonathan, good to have you in the studio with us.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Always a pleasure. Our next guest up is Justin Reel, founder and owner of Real Play. Welcome, Justin.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about your company and what it is that you guys do.
Sure thing. Real Play is a technology company. We've created an automated camera system that allows us to film and automatically edit baseball and softball games for amateur athletes in a way where those athletes can view video from their game on an individualized profile page. The games are cut up for them so that they don't have to watch the whole game, but just the moments that they interact in, whether they pitch, hit, or defend a play. And all of that editing is done based on a machine learning system that we've built that can go through the video, recognize who and what the player is doing, and then send the video to the profile page accurately without any human having to do any editing to get the video there.
Wow, that's a whole mouthful, but pretty impressive stuff.
I appreciate that.
I would imagine having the experience, as we talked a little before we came on air, of shooting plenty of amateur video at sporting events, not an easy task to do it manually.
Yeah, what we have developed the system for is for the many and for the volume. There's a lot of sports being played. 70% of U.S. children end up playing an organized sport, and we want to help all of them.
And so how do most of the players find you? How do they learn of your services?
So right now we have a very small marketing circle. We just go after the customers that we're trying to approach at the facilities, tournaments, or teams that we partner with. We have a product that we do want to bring out to the world, but we don't necessarily need to advertise that to everybody right now. We need to make sure that the players that we film are the ones that know about us most. And so we make sure either via email campaigns, social media campaigns, communication through trusted channels, meaning their coaches, some of the tournament organizers, we make sure that we communicate with them in ways that they're familiar with.
So you contract directly with either a venue or a tournament organizer?
Correct. We like to call them the consolidators.
Okay.
Putting the kids on the field, that's a hard job, especially when year after year you have to figure out exactly what their new crop is going to be. We want to make sure that we're adding value to the people that are doing that. So whether you're the tournament organizer, you're the facility, or you're just a team, your job should not also be film crew, production analyst, and agent all at the same time.
Now, you said that you've developed some machine learning to execute all of this.
Mm-hmm.
What does the physical setup look like? And is that a transportable physical setup? Does that take days to set up? What's sort of the whole...
We wanted our system to be as transportable as possible. Right now, it's something that we set up at the beginning of a day at a baseball or softball field, and we try to run as many games through that field as possible. Right now, the most we've done in a day is 9 games for any one field. We set it up at the beginning of the day. The cameras are put into these large steel boxes. We call them the bird boxes. They are meant to take a hit. We're putting in, very expensive and delicate camera systems around 14-year-olds with big metal sticks. So we do anticipate some things going wrong. And what we designed the software to do was to be able to be used by really anybody that knows how to score a baseball or softball game. So very low levels of education or qualification necessary to run our system. You just need to know what happens when a shortstop throws to the first baseman. And with that, the system really does the rest.
Now, are you a technologist by training? Where'd you get the idea and the genesis, and how did you develop it?
Definitely not the technology behind it. I was a technology solutions consultant for the oil and gas business before I went to business school. I went to Babson College, home of entrepreneurship, and getting my MBA there is where this idea really started to take shape. While I was there, I learned enough about artificial intelligence, machine learning, cognitive computing to be dangerous when I talk about it, but not actually execute on anything. My CTO, Andreas Randau, he's the true technologist behind this, and it wasn't until we linked up that I really knew that this was something that we could accomplish. I had an idea of what it could be, but he really brought it to life.
Fascinating. What's the vision? Is it to and what are the barriers? I would imagine the equipment, as you said, is very expensive. So is it a challenge to roll out to either a regional or national scale based on that?
The equipment is actually the cheapest part of the whole thing. Usually people think when they hear about hardware that hardware is the problem, or hardware is going to be where the cost is. For us, it really is about the operations and making sure that we can automate as much as possible. The barriers to spreading is really just about getting in touch with the folks that are organizing the sports and being able to handle that type of capacity. In only a matter of months, we've managed to quadruple our client size, and to do so by not offering them anything different or creating any different business models, but just telling them what we do. And the hope is that our system aligns with what's already in the infrastructure of the game. If you want to go play these tournaments, if you're going to want to go be part of these events at high level facilities, you're going to want to be seen. So as long as there's people that are putting these events together, we have a customer to go and get, and we hope to be able to go and get them as easily as possible.
And what is the model from a customer perspective? Is it a one-time, one day, or is it a commitment over a period of time? How does that work?
We prefer, and our basic level is a year-long subscription to the player. Right now, we're charging $70 to the player to have access to all the videos that we get from you for the course of the year.
Wow,
We all,
pretty reasonable.
That's the idea. We also have, because we don't see players sometimes often, or we'll only see them one time, we have individual video purchases. You can purchase that for $12.99 if you just want your home run or your one big strikeout or your one great play in the field. We also have team packages where teams can purchase just for those events, tournaments, or games. The team can purchase access for all their players to have video services for those events.
Really, really neat concept. So, what are the applications? I mean, obviously it's the keepsake, but kids are using it in the context of recruiting or in to show their wares, and teams to promote their programs.
A little bit of everything. The sort of aha moment with this came when I was sitting with the director of fan engagement from an MLB team and the director of baseball ops for another, and we were all sitting there, and I was the fan, and we watched one at bat, and we all shut up right as the pitch was about to be thrown. And that moment when pitcher delivers the pitch and when that action really takes place, that's where everyone who's doing a job in baseball takes over. Whether you're a coach and you're trying to help the player get better, whether you're a supporter of the team and you're trying to root for them, or whether you're just a fan of the player and you want to see how they do, that moment is the one that, if captured, can be useful to everybody. And so whether you're a college coach and you're looking to recruit, we have a huge sea of kids that you can parse through, and you can do it all from the comfort of your couch or your office. If you're a private instructor or one of the coaches of these travel teams, you can add additional revenue to your income, and you can start doing virtual coaching using the coaching tools that we have as part of our suite. And if you're a grandma, grandpa, or aunt and uncle that's far away and just wants to see the clips of little Timmy play, then we have the ability to share that easily without anybody having to change your data plan or make you download a lot of stuff. You just send them a link and there's the videos for them.
So out of those areas you just described, which one currently is the, I guess, the most used by your company, or the most profitable? Which is taking off the most right now?
It's really interesting. It's a 50-50 split. 50 split between, there's, call it 30-30-20, but really we have, or 30-30-40? Yeah, 30-30-40. We have most of the players that are using this for a purpose are the older players. Those are the ones that are using it to get better, anything 13 and up. That's where the players are using it either to try to improve or to try to get into colleges, travel teams, junior colleges too, and some prep schools around the area especially. That being said, some of our most avid and passionate customers are the parents of younger children who get to watch their kids do something incredible that they didn't have the physical capacity to do not 3-4 years ago. And holding on to those memories is something that when you promise them, you better deliver on. So as much as we want to say that what we do is really for baseball specific and we want to be all intense about the ways that we help players, it's also just about holding on to those memories and guaranteeing to a parent that whatever they saw on the field, they can have for a lifetime.
Great.
So where does it go from here? You're focused on baseball and softball in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Is there opportunities to go beyond that? Is it the nature of the sports that allow you to be highly targeted, and it doesn't work for, let's say, open field like soccer or football?
You hit it on the head. We try to stay to the individualized sports where a player is performing a repeated action. Whether that's baseball, softball, tennis, golf. You can either throw track and field, gymnastics, dance. There's a lot of opportunities for individual sports or individualized sports to be where we create our beachhead. We start in baseball and softball because it's the largest sport in the U.S. when combined, and it is very easily the one that's been the most neglected. Field sports like football and soccer, basketball have been covered to a degree. And there are products that do a good job in those sports. We just think that we can make their jobs a lot easier by doing the editing better.
And how much of what you're doing, you said that the bulk of it is machine learning and automated in some capacity. Is there a human QC function that comes into play? And is that very highly labor intensive, I'd imagine, when you're shooting 9 hours of video in a day?
It is not as intensive as you'd think, which is why we can do what we do. But there will always be, especially for the sport, a human element of it, whether that is the judgment between a hit or an error, or whether or not someone completely misscores a game. I think there's always going to be somebody that has something to say if something's not exactly how they perceived it. What we have encountered is that the way that we find our problems most is when our customers tell us. It's hard to figure out when you have bad data without there being an audience for it. So we are constantly and regularly building up our customer support service so that we can, it's not a huge amount of complaints that we get, but when we do get those complaints or do get any concerns about whether or not there's something wrong with the video, we want to make sure that there's somebody there. Those parents, as previously mentioned, like to know that they're being heard, and we want to hear them. There's no reason we can't change the product if it's something like what the players did on the field, so we want to make sure that we can serve them in a way that matches their passion.
Fascinating. So I'm sorry if you answered this already, but how many simultaneous events can you do in the course of a day? I mean, what scale are you able to do at this point?
Right now we have, 15 field capacity. We have just ordered our equipment to increase that to 112 fields.
Wow.
And we hope to get to close to 200 fields by the end of the year.
Wow, that's pretty significant scale.
We ran a really great first year. We have a really exciting second year coming up with a bunch of partners that we're thrilled to have gotten on board. And it's really just a question of execution at this point. And we're very excited about our opportunity.
And do you see going up market from amateur?
We hope to. It's a difficult path to take to go to these professional teams for no other reason than if you are doing something that's good and it's something that they value, they're going to want to make sure that no one else can get value out of it either. So we want to make sure that we can provide good tools to high-functioning baseball organizations. Just want to do it not at the expense of other baseball organizations while we do it.
Excellent. Well, fascinating stuff. Justin Reel, founder and owner of Real Play. If our listeners want to get in touch with you or want to order up your service, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
If you go to our website, www.realplay.us, you can find us there. hello@realplay.us is our open email line, but if you're interested in getting in touch with me, my email is justin@realplay.us. Put it out into the world, right? And let people see what they can make from it.
Absolutely. Really interesting stuff, and we wish you the best of luck moving forward. A fantastic story of true entrepreneurship and coming out of a traditional business school that develops entrepreneurs. Justin Reel, founder and owner of Real Play. It's been a pleasure having you on Radio Entrepreneurs, and alongside me is Jonathan Penta of Penta Wealth Management. Great to have you in the studio.
Thank you, John.
Thank you guys for having me.
And we'll be right back with another segment on Radio Entrepreneurs.